Hello, welcome Internet Traveler. I am Big Charles, and this is my domain. Got a pretty chill video for you all today. This is the first run in which I successfully defeated Heolstor the Nightlord solo, and I felt pretty good about it. This is not a guide. This is not a perfect run. This is not a meta strategy. This is me playing the game and talking about it, talking about what I do well, what I do poorly. So sit back, relax. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll feel entertained. Maybe you'll feel a little less lonely. If you feel any of those things, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I know it's just silly, YouTube stuff, but I do appreciate it. So yeah, you saw him playing Executor, pretty standard loadout with some of his core skills. I think I have HP up on guarding, HP up on the cursed sword powering up, and probably heal on roar. And none of the other stuff is really that important. So we drop in right next to this mausoleum, and I'm of course going to farm up this group of little guys just to get to level 2 and make my life a little easier. You should always get level 2 before you try to clear any serious content. Just beat up on the trash, loot around, get a passive or two. It's rarely actually going to save you time to skip doing this, because you'll just be so much weaker when you actually reach the first real point of interest. The jump from level 1 to 2 is significant. So yeah, just grabbing some loot. Don't underestimate how useful pots are. Really for the whole run till the final boss, but especially early on. They can take out groups much faster than you can with melee. Always check these metal chests. They have a nice chance to drop a stone sword key, as you just saw. And stone sword keys are just free real estate most of the time. Kind of depends what boss you get out of it, but a lot of the time it's just value. Especially now that you can get a guaranteed relic with the attack power up for each Everjail prisoner defeated. Stone sword keys are pretty meta. I see a couple speedrunners using them as their main damage ramp. It's not what I'm doing here, but still like to go and farm an Everjail. And I find you can clear Everjails fairly comfortably at level 3 and up on day 1. Again, it kind of depends what boss you get, but one thing that is constant is the fact that the Everjails do scale to day 1. There's like a HP reduction you'll see in a second. So it's very manageable as long as you get something reasonable, like Bloodhound Knight, very reasonable. The only ones that are really bad are like Ancient Dragon, or maybe for solo, like the Beastly Brigade. Great boss name, by the way. Like the group of the Misbegotten kind of sucks, or the group of the Faramazula Beastmen kind of suck. I almost get bodied there, but we pull it out. And there I'm going to take the max HP 10% every time. Day 2 Everjails, when it's a choice between something like that, and 20,000 or 30,000 runes. Now there's some thinking to do, but I feel like as the run goes on and your power scales, 10% of your max HP is always going to be more valuable than 10,000 runes. And I just want to draw your attention to the fact, maybe you've even caught on, I'm not rushing this at all, this run. I play really quite lax in solo. Because you kind of can. You aren't rushing next to anyone to keep up with them or to get ahead of them. Or like if you play with randoms, like trying to keep control of the groups so they don't wander off and die to a deathrite bird or something. It's just you, and I find the macro skill of this game, at least in solo, has a lot to do with doing the safest stuff as fast as possible, at least for the average player. You can break those with Executor's ult if you didn't know. But yeah, doing the safest stuff as fast as possible, rather than doing the highest risk, highest reward stuff really carefully. Like doing stuff where you can afford to be sloppy and kind of rushing. Doing these camps, these mausoleums, stone sword keys, is ultimately going to reward you a lot more than spending half of day one fighting a tree sentinel or something. You'll probably end up with the same amount, if not more stuff, doing the safe content, killing trash mobs, and it just takes less of a toll on you. You end up with more loot and passive upgrades because you didn't just kill one boss for one big upgrade. You killed a bunch of little bosses for a bunch of little upgrades, and you got to choose between more weapons. You know, you basically pulled the slot machine more times. Right here I get the Sacred Nagakiba. That's ultimately going to be my weapon for the run. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, you can definitely take it easy in solo runs. I mean, obviously not if you're trying to get like record times or to be just as powerful as possible. I think I probably end this run around level 12 or 13 if I remember correctly. But there's a pretty serious drop off in scaling after level 12 anyway. Like the difference between level 12 and 15 is, I think, basically the same as the difference between level 11 and 12. So if you can get yourself to level 12 pretty comfortably, you know, farm some of the castle on day 2, take it easy on day 1. Like I'm level 5 right now, but I'm really not pressed about that at all. I'm gonna try and get myself a talisman. Blessed Dew, not bad. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good at this point in the run. I have my weapon. Got a couple levels, couple decent-ish passives going on, you know, some survivability stuff. I really need to drop that skill attack power. That's not going to be helpful for the final boss at all, but hindsight's 20/20. And I think here I'm probably going to hit the mine and grab a purple stone for this blue Sacred Nagakiba I just picked up. Because for me, I don't know, I like to commit to a weapon early. You know, if there's a spot with the element that I need, I like to go there as soon as possible and see if I can pull a weapon that I'm comfortable with, so I'm not left scrounging at any point on day 2. You know, I want to go into night 1 with a purple weapon if possible, just to really blow through that boss and just have some momentum going into day 2 and some confidence to start clearing some of the stuff that was a little dicey for day 1. Executor is so good against knights. It's so fun. What a great character. Obviously I'm playing like a brainlight here, but even that still works. Just the Night Slayer, truly. Tempted there by the damage negation at full HP, but I don't really want to go out of my way to hit another mine, so I play it safe and get the stone. But big shout out to damage negation at full HP. That effect is very strong. It does seem to stack across multiple items, and can make you feel really tanky. So here I see it's the chariot camp. I'm just going to commit to the sacred Nagakiba and level it up. Chariot camp is free. I feel like everyone knows this at this point. Just jump on their head. Watch out, you know, they blow up. Yeah, purple Nagakiba. We're pretty much set unless the game decides to give us something nicer. I don't believe it does, and that's fine. Don't forget to grab your Wending Graces. You can get one from the generic merchant that kind of exists everywhere, and you can get one from Big Merchant at like the township point of interest, the village point of interest, whatever you want to call it. And try to have 10,000 runes left before you walk into the final boss, because that merchant also sells one. So you can have up to... That's 3 Wending Graces, and then there's the default auto res that the recent patch to solos gives you. So you can revive up to 4 times. Solos is very, very doable. Don't feel intimidated going into it at all. In a lot of ways, it's actually easier than playing with randoms, at least. So there I take the improved affinity damage negation. That's a really safe pick. It's generally quite good, especially against Heolstor, because he just has so many different elements at his disposal. Maybe all the elements. I think I feel like I've seen him do every element in the game. So if you can just kind of cover your ass on that and just get some defense up, that's going to help you out when he's at his most dangerous in the powered up second stage of the fight, when he's sending out all the shock waves and his sword's imbued with whatever element on top of the magic damage that the not Moonlight Greatsword that he has is doing. Here I notice Libra / Scaled Merchant is on my map, and he's on my way, so I just decided to stop by him, see what he's offering. Nothing too impressive here. Excuse me. He does have a couple pretty good deals that he can offer. I know a couple people who are like, I never make a deal with him. He's a bad guy. And like, yeah, there's the monkey's paw element to all of his deals. But the Symbol of Avarice, if you get that on day 1, that's a no-brainer. I would even take that early on day 2, probably. Think it pays for itself pretty quick. And what's the other one? Oh, the ailment resistance one. You like give up a tiny bit of stamina for a significant buff to your status resistances. That's worth taking if you're going against any Nightlord that does status effects, which is, you know, a lot of them. Back to the present. I'm fighting this tree sentinel, not with the intention of killing him right now, but just to take out a chunk of his HP for tomorrow, since he's so close to final ring. I figure it'll be easy to just run over here and finish him off tomorrow. Very nice thing about mobile bosses is you can kind of drag them away from the rain at the end of night. I don't know why I don't do that more here with him. I guess I was worried he might follow me into the final ring, which can and does happen. And that's bad when that happens. Usually they despawn at some point, but can cost you a couple flasks. Can get kind of ugly. So something you may or may not have noticed that I do pretty religiously to save time is only really managing my inventory on the move while I'm running from point A to point B. It might not seem like a big deal to pause and really like examine your loot, especially when you're picking from like boss drops. But I find it can really stack up, like the time burn doing that. You know, if you do that 10, 15 times a run and you're spending 5 or 7 seconds a pop, that can amount easily to a minute of just standing still, which if you've played this game at all, you know is quite bad. So anytime you can, checking out your inventory on the move. If you're not sure, just grab the best looking thing and you can drop it later. Pretty worth it in my opinion. Here the game gave me ulcerated tree spirit, which I am very comfortable with fighting. Not to say I'm good at fighting ulcerated tree spirit at all, but very comfortable, very used to it. There are like 500 of these things between Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. And there's like 500 of these things in this game, for some reason. FromSoft thinks that they're really cool, I guess. There I try what's called a switch parry. If you didn't know, Executor's sword activating actually has parry frames, but they're a hell of a lot tighter than the normal deflect when it's already out. And I just end up looking like a fool. If you've been watching my health bar, you might have noticed a relic effect that I forgot to mention earlier, which is the Bloodborne relic, the post-damage HP restoration on attacks or something. It gives you the rally mechanic. That's a pretty good relic effect. It's definitely not like a must-have, but I think it's pretty comfy, especially in solo, because your heal windows are more strict in solo. It lets you maintain more aggression and more DPS. Here all my rewards are terrible, so I just take sudden enemy death, which I don't really love running. It's maybe one of my least favorites. I only ever really take it on like Iron Eye or Guardian, like characters with low burst damage potential. I mean, that's not even really true of Iron Eye, but you are chipping a lot of the time, so it can be nice. And here I'm back with the Tree Sentinel. Just gonna clean this up. I do end up making my first notable folly of the run, finishing up this Tree Sentinel, but luckily it doesn't actually really cost me much other than maybe 15 to 30 seconds, which I can live with. It's been a pretty clean run. My gear's pretty good, so I can afford to waste a little time. There it is. Watch that back. You know, put that play speed on half and tell me if it looked like that should have hit me. Because I thought I was chilling. I thought I spaced him good, but obviously not. He's lag switching. Come back, get my buff up. I don't know how much Sacred Order really does against anything but skeletons. It can't hurt, right? And while you're watching me fight a Tree Sentinel, I'll just talk about Executor a little bit, because I think he's an incredible character, especially for solos, but in general, I think he's maybe a little misunderstood and overvalued in some ways and undervalued in others. People seem to either think of him, or at least talk about him, like he is either just a DPS machine. He's the Dex Arcane guy. That's what I ran to beat Elden Ring in my YouTube build. You know, some people think of him that way, and other people seem to think B- tier. He just aura farms. He stands there with his sword out all the time. And like both of these things are kind of true. And what makes Executor really cool is that if you have like a strong game sense, or if you can develop that, he can do whatever you need him to do in a given scenario. He even has insane crowd control on his ult. You run into a bunch of little guys, which is kind of the one thing that his build isn't like amazing at. You know, low poise, single target burst damage guy isn't great at crowds. He's fine, really, but he's really quite the all-rounder. And obviously there's Wilder is an even stronger all-rounder in some ways. I wouldn't even say stronger, there's a different, where Wilder is kind of doing everything well all the time. Love that. Executor is much more of a kind of compartmentalized character. You know, you could even think of it, if any of you guys have ever played For Honor, Executor kind of reminds me of Highlander, or at least the concept of Highlander, where he has offensive stance, which is his like normal quote-unquote gameplay, and defensive stance, which is his cursed sword, the Suncatcher. And I think that's super fun to engage with and kind of figure out when it's appropriate to be doing what. And yeah, I think people underappreciate how much thought goes into actually doing a good job of playing Executor. Because I think a lot of the random Executors you play with in solo queue are not doing that. They are either just spamming attacks and just eating damage. They're not playing defense at all, or they're playing Sekiro. I'm guilty of this more than the other play style. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, Executor is underappreciated. Let me know if you'd want me to make a deep dive on Executor, because I have played him a lot. I think he's my most played character. I'd have to check, but it's either him or Duchess. And I really like him. I think there's a lot to say about him. I mean, look at this. I'm just saucing. You can't beat that, man. You just can't beat that. The guard counter out of the deflect is just so smooth. I know that that's like kind of existed in Sekiro and Elden Ring, but it just feels right here, man. They did a killer job designing Executor. Get out of here, you animal. To no one's surprise, I'm taking that max HP, man. You're never gonna regret having more hit points. Hit up the Nefarious Scarab real quick and end up with the Spear Tally, which kind of brings up something unfortunate about the unique but homogenized move sets that the characters get on their preferred weapon. I don't have access to really that many thrusting attacks, despite having a Nagakiba, which on any other character has amazing unique R2, kind of like the Claymore, and the running poke. There you see, I had the field boss pinged, and then I see that it's Blackblade Kindred, and I just turn on my heels. I turn right on him. I abscond from the situation, because that guy... By the way, what's with the duped Blessed Dew talisman? But Blackblade Kindred, BBK, like hell, nah, man. I never want to fight that. I don't know why I have such a hard time with him, but that would take me the rest of the time I have in the match before the Nightlord to kill that guy. Probably with a death or two in the process. So instead, I decide to hit up the castle, take out at least the basement boss, and grab the talisman after you finish him. It is unfortunately the troll castle layout, which to me is not that fun in solo or in general. I kind of hate the freaking trolls. Especially as Executor, I'd much rather just Crucible Knights. There's such free farming for Exec. Yeah, we got Ancient Hero, which is nice. It really would have been the 2-for-1 to see that BBK and then the BBH, the bell-bearing hunter under here. That might have demoralized me a little, because that's another one. I'm actually quite comfy with fighting. Huge mistake. Forgot that happened. I knew I fucked up at some other point in the run, and well, there it is. Pro tip, don't stand in the middle of a freaking ice storm. In the game or in real life. But yeah, luckily the spawn is like right outside. It's kind of not a big deal because I'm still level 9. It's like still very doable. I decided to just pull out the animal inside of me. The animal I have become. And, you know, go to town on this guy. Best case scenario in Executor's ult is you push an enemy into a corner. And then just style on him. Because you tend to knock enemies away a lot. So if you're trying to use it to like DPS a boss down, just push him into a corner. Very tempted by that cold ant spur. But I already know I'm mostly just going to be chilling and parrying the final boss or deflecting the final boss. I just find that to be the most consistent way to go about it. So I instead opt for the rain of stars while walking. Get a nice green turtle there. But yeah, all the on walking effects trigger when you're in your kind of cursed sword stance, your defensive stance. So if you know you're going to be doing that a lot in a boss fight, aura farming, so to speak, they're pretty valuable pickups. They just up your DPS and can occasionally bail you out of a sticky situation. That's more so in multiplayer though. It makes me wonder if your own rain can res you if you like proc it and then you go down. Can it like contribute to the res? Let me know if you've seen that happen or not happen. So at this point, moving right along, I decided to check in here for a stone sword and kill the bubble blowing babies real quick. Because why not? Obviously I have more than enough damage to do so efficiently. This may actually be a mistake. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Actually, another Sacred Nagakiba there. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to hit a mine to get another perp to power stance. And looks like I forget to look for a stone sword key behind the altar. So that's brilliant. Like I said, this isn't a perfect run, and this isn't a guide. I certainly have plenty of room to improve. And I think, you know, as people, when we can point that out to others, it makes us all better. So I'm stopping by Big Merch real quick for my second Wending Grace. Oh, and I'm buying a stone sword key. That's something, I guess. And I think the only Everjail I have access to is going to be right here, which is pretty dicey. You definitely want to hope that you don't get a really tanky boss here, and what do you know? It's exactly what happens. And my damage does look pretty good on him. Better than I remembered it. The bleed proc. Yeah, I'm surprised. I already know that I remember running away from this. Spoiler. I'm surprised. I feel like, even though this was only a couple days ago, me today, I'd probably stay and finish this. But, you know, nothing wrong with playing it safe. Would definitely be a permanently lost level if I were to die out there in the rains. Maybe me a couple days ago, actually smarter than me today. This time that I'm in right now, where you're kind of just running from the storm, It's kind of like junk time, you know? It's a great opportunity to just kill trash mobs that you run into on the way. I wouldn't waste my time with a guy like this who's like gonna be annoying and moving around a bunch. Obviously not a big problem, but it's a great time to just kill some trash mobs and stock up on some extra souls, swing by a merchant, which I declined to do there because I already talked to Big Merch, but yeah, this is a good time. If you know any nefarious scarab spawns, that's what they're called, by the way. It's a good time to check for talismans, maybe get a last minute upgrade. I don't really know what I'm looking for here, but I get a guard counter talisman, the curved sword tally, which is pretty good. There's not a ton of opportunities to guard counter the final boss. I might have been better off with Blessed Dew, but I think the difference is marginal either way, probably. Feels better to have your guard counters getting buffed than gaining 1 HP a second or whatever. Makes you feel like you're doing synergy, even if you're not. Yeah, just smoking some trash mobs on the way. And you'd be surprised how quick the souls rack up. These little fellas, you know, they drop anywhere from like 600, 1200 a lot of the time. These really little guys maybe drop 400. I don't remember. I couldn't tell there. It said 960, but I think that was for the 2 of them. But yeah, just killing some trash mobs instead of sprinting directly to the final circle and just standing there can be the difference between buying a pickled turtleneck and a crab, or exalted flesh, or even a physic, as well as your wending grace at the final merchant. And I'm ecstatic to see these skeletons finally get some good use out of my Order's Blade, or Sacred Order, or whatever it's called. And I'm pretty certain of what boss this is gonna be. There he is. Look at the damage. Honestly, you should always just keep a holy weapon on you if you can find one with a decent passive, just in case it's a Deathrite bird on night 2. Because this boss might have the biggest polarity or variance of difficulty. Oh my goodness, bro. The biggest variance of difficulty depending on whether you can deal holy damage or not. Like if you're just counting on pure status effects or something, this boss sucks. I mean, he's kind of cool, like don't get me wrong, I don't mean he sucks like he's bad, but he's hard. But the damage output of holy just completely melts him. You'll love to see it. And there I double up on the while walking effect, because they do double up. I don't think multiple will stack, like you won't be proccing like 2 reigns or whatever if you pick 2 of those. Don't forget your wending grace. And I grab the Crimson Burst physic, I think it's called, the Crimson Bubble Tier. Just heals you when you get low. A certified classic from the base game. What was I saying? Holy damage is good. I don't know. So here we go, boys. I was feeling a little nervous. This is actually the first time I ever even tried to solo this boss. So I was not sure what it was going to be like. But I'm feeling good about my gear. Level 12 is pretty good. And I see my damage and I'm like, yeah, boy. Hit the switch parry on him. Yeah, boy. I'm feeling in my element right now. This sequence is funny. I'm just like, attack me. Please. Honestly, improving at switch parries is something I need to do to avoid situations like that where I'm smacking with the curved sword for such little damage. I just need to get more comfortable with it. The input just feels a little weird still. Get a little sloppy there. If you didn't know, in solos, while the boss's health is obviously scaled down, so is their total stance or posture. So it's much easier to repeatedly stagger them, and that is one of the reasons that Executor's deflect playstyle is so incredibly viable for solos, because you are just doing incredible stance damage constantly while keeping yourself extremely safe from damage. And here the real fight begins. Pre-drank that physic, because I know it can get hairy. I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm usually much more consistent about parrying that follow-up. I think the nerves might be affecting my performance a bit. But it's alright. Like I said earlier, I have 4 revives in the bank, and I am well aware of that. So I'm happy to just take it slow, go for these stance breaks. Ideally, I might have found a Sacred Misericord and some more crit up stuff, but you work with what you got. It's fine. I don't know why that didn't parry that. That's going to happen again later in the fight. I remember it pissing me off because I'm very, very consistent at timing that parry. But he just seems to dead angle me with that attack. It's something about the way I move into it. Again, I just am eating that for some reason. Totally panic here. Don't do that. Get away from him and kind of zigzag when he does that attack. Do as I say, not as I do. And here I'm like, I just have to lock in and get these deflects more focused. And I still fail to do that, but it's on my mind now. I'm like, I'm burning through my total HP pool a little quickly for my comfort. But the on-walking effects are just really stacking up that bonus stance damage, and I'm getting a lot of crits, so I'm not feeling too bad. This move is hairy. It is deflectable. I do not succeed at that, but it is deflectable if you're wondering. And we get the madness phase, which is probably the worst alongside the sleep realm that he can conjure. Both are quite terrible for Executor, because this playstyle is all about standing in there, and you are just hard pressed to deflect every single attack and shockwave or position yourself perfectly, which is just very challenging. Luckily, I just use one of my 4 revives, so we're doing good. Just eat that for some reason. Gotta lock in, man. What's nice about this move is it feels quite rare that he actually even connects to you with the sword, so you can kind of just watch the ground if you're spaced out properly. Finally lock in and deflect a big move instead of just taking the chip through my block. And I'm on my bullshit now. Those 2 deaths kind of got me in the zone, thankfully. And I'm feeling good. I'm looking at his health bar like, this is the run. You know, I still have 2 revives, 3 heals, full health. Feeling good. Again, he dead angles me with that, man. It's lag switching. I'm reporting Heolstor to Bandai Namco. This is how you appropriately avoid this attack. I still get chipped a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Hit him with the illegal burrito. And the fight's basically over. He tries to run for his life, but you can only go so far, Heolstor. I'm gonna edge walk towards you. And actually perfectly spaced that and get the kill without even having to defend against that move. GG. So yeah, that's the run, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed this format. Feel free to post any tips or questions in the comments. Like, subscribe, etc. Tell your friends about Big C on the YT. And just know, even if you don't do any of that, I really appreciate you just watching this video. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Later.